أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. This is the second section for tutorials. In this section, we shall be discussing on some important judgments out of the thousands of the Geomantic judgments. In the first section, we have discussed on some important stages which every geomancy student is expected to know before he starts the Geomantic translation or the Geomantic interpretation processes. The stages which we have learned about are very important in this method of Geomantic chart interpretation process, which we shall be discussing on. Inshallah, today we shall be discussing on the first judgment according to our lesson plan. The first judgment is going to be about the authenticity of a chart. Every Geomantic chart cast for any kind of divination is expected to be authentic. The first thing you have to check is the Geomantic figures. From the first four Geomantic figures, are they properly generated? If they are properly generated, are the 5th, 6th, 7th, and the 8th Geomantic figures properly generated from the first four Geomantic figures? Are the 9th and the 10th Geomantic figures properly generated from the first four Geomantic figures? Are the 11th and the 12th Geomantic figures properly generated from the 5th, 6th, 7th, and the 8th Geomantic figures? Is the 13th Geomantic figure properly generated from the 9th and the 10th Geomantic figures? Is the 14th Geomantic figure properly generated from the 11th and the 12th Geomantic figures? Is the 15th Geomantic figure properly generated from the 13th and the 14th Geomantic figures? Is the 16th Geomantic figure properly generated from the 1st and the 15th Geomantic figure? Is the figure that emerged in the 15th Geomantic house an even Geomantic figure? Because whenever you find out that the figure that emerged in the 15th Geomantic house is an odd Geomantic figure, your chart is not properly generated. There is a mistake somewhere. If you go back and check properly, you will find out that there are some Geomantic figures which you did not generate properly. If you find out that all these parameters are put in place, then you can go on with the second step. These steps are some ways out of the numerous ways of checking the authenticity of a Geomantic chart cast for any kind of divination. The first method of checking the authenticity of a Geomantic chart we have here is by intermixing the figure that emerged in the 3rd Geomantic house and the figure that emerged in the 5th Geomantic house. After intermixing them, we keep the resultant Geomantic figure aside. Again, intermix the figure that emerged in the 11th Geomantic house and the figure that emerged in the 15th Geomantic house. Keep the resultant figure aside. Then intermix the two resultant Geomantic figures together, meaning the resultant figure from the 3rd and the 5th Geomantic figure from the chart, and the resultant figure generated from the 11th and the 15th Geomantic houses from the chart. If you intermix the resultant Geomantic figure from the two resultant Geomantic figures, if it emerged physically in the chart, that chart is authentic. It is very okay for translation or interpretation. The next method we have here is by intermixing the figure that emerged in the third and the sixth geomantic houses. After intermixing them together, we keep the resultant geomantic figure aside. Intermix the resultant geomantic figure with the figure that emerged in the 15th geomantic house. After intermixing them, we check if the resultant geomantic figure emerged in any of the 16 houses of the geomantic chart which you have created for translation. If it happens to emerge in any of the geomantic houses, that chart is okay for translation. The third method is by checking if any good fortuned geomantic figure emerged in the house where it rules in the chart. That geomantic chart is authentic and okay for translation or interpretation. If you go to the sixth stage in the first section, we have discussed about the good, the bad, and the mixed fortune geomantic figures. The fourth method is when Pure and Cassia emerge in their houses. Pure rules the first geomantic house according to Sutin of Bordeaux. Cassia rules the 10th geomantic house according to the Sutin of Bordeaux. When any of these geomantic figures emerge in their houses, that geomantic chart is okay for translation. The next method is whenever an incoming good fortune geomantic figure becomes emergent geomantic figure, that geomantic chart is okay for translation or interpretation, meaning whenever a good fortune incoming geomantic figure emerge in the first geomantic house. We have discussed on the incoming, outgoing, intermingling, and the constant geomantic figures in the seventh stage of our tutorials, that is in the section 1 of the tutorials. If you go back, you will find a detailed explanation about them. The next method is whenever you cast your chart for any kind of divination, your chart is authentic and okay for interpretation or translation, that is according to some scholars of geomancy. Therefore, whenever you cast your chart for divination, you should go through these processes. If any of them is in place, your chart is okay and authentic for interpretation or translation. These are some few methods out of the numerous methods of checking the authenticity of the geomantic chart. If this is your first time of watching this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and press the notification button for you to be notified whenever a new video has been uploaded on this page. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.